Hello, this is me. Today I'm 65 years old. I just wanted to reminisce a little bit about what I achieved in my life. Now remember, let's go back a bit. I'm 65 today. 65 million years ago, the dinosaurs roamed the world, the land. And I kind of like to think 65 million years ago. Just stop and think about that. That's a long time. And I'm only 65 years, not 65 million, although I feel like I'm 65 million. But that's a long time. I'm just like a little speck on a humpback whale, amoeba. Anyway, just to catch you up to date and what I've done in my lifetime, I'll make it quick. Well, I was born in Pomona, California, and I went to several different schools and moved around a lot. Ended up moving up to Sacramento in '64. Spent about a month or two in Florin in an apartment. Moved to Elk Grove, rented a house, and we grew up there. Went to Elk Grove Elementary, and then we moved out to Wilton. His sister had a horse, so we needed some space for the horse. We lived on Dillard Road across from Dillard Elementary School. And it was different because I came from LA County, and we had no movie houses, no sidewalks to skateboard, which we grew up on skateboarding and riding our bikes. God, I took a lot of tumbles on the bikes, and no helmet, no shoulder pads or knee pads or nothing, and I survived. Even drank water from a hose and lived to tell about it. Climbed trees, fell out of trees, never broke a bone in my life. Oh, this is Sputnik, by the way. It's my 16-pound Russian blue kitty. Anyway, he's a lap cat. Yeah, I grew up in Wilton. Moved on to Green Road in Sunflower in a nice house. Small but nice. And then continued on to Kerr Junior High and Elk Grove High. Graduated class of '74. Right on. As growing up, though, I picked up the drums and started playing drums and guitar. And since I couldn't haul a drum set around with me to the park, I decided to take my guitar with me. And continued playing that and went on to piano. I was very mechanical as well. My grandfather was a mechanic. My cousins are mechanics. So I'd take things apart in my early years, and sometimes I couldn't get them back together. But I learned. And as you learn, you learn. I love learning. There isn't a day I don't learn something new every day, and if I could, I'd go to college constantly and learn. While I was living there in Wilton, I went to college for music theory and automotive technology, and took some judo courses. I took automatic transmission, tune-up. That was kind of like in the mid-'80s. Took music theory in the 74 when after I graduated. I always studied radio and TV production. And then got an internship at Channel 3 in '79, December. And I was there for a few weeks, and 2 weeks before Christmas I got hired on at Channel 10. And I worked in the production, and we did the newscast, the evening news, 5 o'clock and 11 o'clock p.m. news. Got to work with Dick Cable and Jennifer Smith and Jay Scott, Creighton Sanders. Boy, I could tell you stories about that, but I'm not going to go into it. From production, I moved into the newsroom. In 1980, of course, I was assistant to the director, and I was pulling script when John Lennon was shot. And that raised havoc in the newsroom. Mount St. Helens erupted. That was pretty because when you're pulling script, everything goes crazy. They got to change the stories, the A block to goes to B block, and it's one of those kind of things. Eventually, after that, I went into news editing. So I became a news editor, videotape news editing in the department, and that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. We edited on 3/4 inch tape back in the day, and then I wanted to become an E&G photographer, which is a videographer, go out and shoot the news, but that didn't happen. In 1984, I was working with Leanne Kozak and Dick Cable doing the noon news. They were a lot of fun. I enjoyed working with Dick Cable and Leanne. The Yolanda Nava for the 5 o'clock news. In the meantime, I kept up with my music and did that. 84, I quit Channel 10, and I moved on to college again and took some more automotive classes, automatic transmissions, and that kind of thing. It's funny because that's when the computers were starting to come in on the cars, and it's kind of like being a doctor, because you got to keep up on the technology, otherwise you lose what you know. So it's just a knowledge kind of deal. So I did that, and then I couldn't find too much work in Sacramento, so in 87 I moved up to Eureka, California, and that's where I'm at now. Went to college, took electronics, because I figured, well, I can always repair TVs and VCRs and that kind of stuff. They were around at that time. CD players too. So I did that, and more automotive technology and music theory. It's always been my background. Music has always been my thing. And let's see. I had a cornea transplant. That was right. I had 2 cornea transplants, one in 68 and 69, transitioning from Dillard School to Kerr. And 96, I had to have the left eye redone, and that went well. And then in 2019, I had the right eye redone, and the first time it went around didn't work, so they had to redo it in July of 2020. And now I'm still recovering that. That's why I got my right eye closed, because I got to go down the end of the month and get some more stitches out. So I've had 5 cornea transplants in my life. And then what else is going on? In 97, I decided to move out to Ohio, open up a recording studio, because I went to recording school in Chillicothe to learn some new stuff. While I was there, I met Brian Plunkett, and we were cabin mates. And so 2 years after I got back in 95, 2 years later, I called him and said, hey, you want to open up a studio in Youngstown? He goes, sure. So I packed everything up and went to Youngstown. And of course, I had to find work. I didn't graduate with any degree whatsoever, but I walked away with the knowledge. And to me, that's more important than a piece of paper. If you can gain the knowledge and use it, that's what it's all about. So while I was there, I got a job at a supermarket called Farmore, and it was a 24-hour store. And started out there. Oh, actually, I painted houses with Brian, because he painting house painter, and we did some really big woodies. And did some really good work too, and the pay was good. But it's seasonal, because of course it snows in Ohio and gets bitterly cold. So I got a job at a supermarket, and so I did that, and then there was an opening for electronics tech at a repair store, so I went in there, and lo and behold, I got the job on my birthday. Wow. 1997, no, that was 99. 98, I got the job. It was called Fixtronics. And I opened and closed the store. It was a small little corner store, but I got to repair TVs, VCRs, all the electronic education I got paid off. So stereos, you name it, we did it. And then from there, I went to a panel making shop, and I bought a house. I bought a house in the country. It was cool because it was right on the corner of State Line Road and Keller Road, Highway 170. And the the house was right on the corner, so if you went through the intersection of State Line Road and Keller Road, you were in Pennsylvania. It was that, I could yell at my neighbor across the street, but to call her, it was long distance. So I bought this house with a brick building on it. I finally found my studio. Had a brick garage, and I decided to build it there, and I did. And beautiful studio. Had a 350 square foot live room with 11 foot to 12 foot ceilings, 2 isolation rooms, the control room. Everything was double walled. I had a lobby and a bathroom and a utility room, and it looked like $1 million facility. Now I got this. What you're looking at now is what I have here. I got it set up in the back bedroom, and I can record bands in the house if I have to. It works out great. So I did the studio thing, and then I got another job at Doc's TV repair, and it did the same thing, repaired TVs, and the flat screens were starting to come out. The big 3-tube projection TVs were phasing out. I had one. Ended up burning the cabinet and taking the rest of the dump. So I had 13 years in Ohio, and I was an X-ray repair technician for a couple of years, installing, calibrating, doing X-ray repair, which was a lot of fun. Then from there I went to, as a satellite uplink engineer in New Middletown, where I lived. There was a company called Sure Shot, and we would drive around all over the country doing mainly sports. Any breaking news stories we covered as well. And I even ended up in New York for 9/11. And it was the first time I've ever been in Manhattan, New York City. And welcome to New York. And it was just a chaotic mess going on. And so we did that, and we just drove around doing a lot of spring training baseball games, Fort Myers, Fort Lauderdale, Jupiter, just all over. A lot of fun. Got to see the country for a change, because I've been to England and Germany twice, but I never got to see the United States. And this gave me the opportunity to do that for free, and I love to drive, and I drove a Mack truck, cab over, with a sleeper in it, and split rear end shifter. It was cool. I like sitting high up that, because you can see everything, and pretty cool. Did the Super Bowl in 2002 for Japan Television in New Orleans, and got to experience the Mardi Gras, which was a blast. If you ever do anything once in your life, go do the Mardi Gras. It's killer. So I did that for 4 years and opened up the studio in 2004, and recorded a lot of good local talent came in and recorded a lot of that. I also did live sound mixing for a couple of bands. The first band was Night. God, I can't remember. No. Yeah, well, I'll think of it in a minute. The other one was Buck Wild or something Cowboys. Bought a PA system and did sound for them, and made them sound really good. Um, and then Night Moves was the first band. John Wilson was the guitar player, singer. He was really good. He is good. Did Night Moves, and then did the Cowboys. Still have the PA system. I'm still good at doing that kind of work. I'm concentrating more on writing and composing now. Kind of like, because of the COVID, there's not many live music going on anymore, so until that clears up and things get going, I might get back into doing the live music thing. Let's see. Actors. I got to meet a lot of actors through my life. I got to talk with Buddy Ebsen when I was working at Channel 10. He was sitting in the lobby and they were having this mixer because they were bringing back the Barnaby Jones episodes, reruns on Channel 10 at the time. And he was sitting in the lobby all alone, and I walked up to him and said, "Mr. Ebsen, can I have a chat with you?" He goes, "Well, sure." So I sat down and we talked about all kinds of stuff, and I asked him about The Wizard of Oz and how he got sick from the makeup paint and that whole thing. I also thanked him for all the laughter and enjoyment he brought to me and everybody in the world. It was kind of cool. He was a nice guy. I got to meet Jethro at another time, 73. Got to talk to him. I met June Lockhart from Lost in Space. A lot of people I bumped into over the period of time. Got to work with Maria Muldaur, and she was a pop singer at the time. She mid-70s. She had a big hit called "Midnight at the Oasis," and she. I got called up to go second engineer with her up at Buck Dancer Studios in Redway, and it's up in this. Lee Bostro has a studio up in the hills of Redwoods, and she showed up, and his label is Music for Little People, and he does compilation songs. Puts together these CDs with entertainers, like Bruce Willis and Maria Muldaur and other people, and it's all songs for children's music. So they asked me to come up there and help out, and I did, and she was just a fantastic lady. I mean, you could hear that Midnight at the Oasis voice, when she spoke, and when she started singing these songs, that we only did 2 songs. And she did this one song called Happy Waggy-Tailed Dog. It's about this dog that gets dumped off at this guy's apartment. Of course, he can't keep animals, and the dog starts barking. And it's a real cute song, nice melody. So while we were doing the recording and stuff, she came in and she did a scratch vocal, and the song was built up from the ground up. It wasn't like already done. They had to put it together. From 8 o'clock to 2 in the morning was the session. We did, like I said, 2 songs. So when she did her main vocal track at the end, they were listening back to it, and I started barking like a dog. And they kind of laughed at it and everything, and they said, "Oh, that's pretty good." After we got done and came home a week later, Lee called me back up and asked if I'd come bark on the song. And so I did, and my bark now is on a CD with Maria Muldaur. Happy Waggy-Tailed Dog. And anyway, it's a good children's song, so if you ever get on the internet and want to listen to it, when you hear the bark, that's me. That was kind of cool. The other thing that happened, 2017, they were shooting a movie up here, or 2018. They were shooting a movie up here called Evening with Beverly Loughlin, and I got to work with got hired on with the sound crew. Jim Morgan, and Matt Joyer as a second boom op in a utility. So this was a major production. It was filmed mostly at the Eureka Inn. So we were, setting up mics in the cars, second booming. Greg Robinson's in it, Aubrey Plaza. Beautiful people. We just had a blast. And one day I walked in the morning to, get breakfast and stuff, catering. And they said, "Hey, Bruce, Jim wants to see you in the lounge." He was the producer and director. I said, "Oh my God, I did something wrong." I walk in the lounge and there's Jim. And they said, "Hey, do you want to be in the movie?" And I said, "Sure. What's up?" He goes, "Well, we need a bartender because the one that we had scheduled to do got a concussion. He couldn't fly out." So I went up there and they said, "Well, go up to wardrobe and makeup and you're going to be the captain, the bartender." So I went up there and Aubrey Plaza sitting next to me, and so we went over my lines and everything because I'm working with her and Jeremy Clemens. So I get to be in this movie as a bartender, and it was a pretty cool experience because I'm so used to working behind the scenes. Now I'm I'm in the front. It wasn't a big scene, but they chopped it up, and I'm in the bar a couple of times, talking to Jeremy and Aubrey. But it was fun. I got paid SAG wages for a day and a half, and I made some good money. And then I went back to my regular sound job after that, which was pretty fun, and it fulfilled my bucket list. Now I'm in a movie, and I get some water. So that was an experience. And the 9/11 thing, just to kind of talk about this little situation. The first day we got there was the day after it happened because they screwed up our phone lines and we couldn't leave. Anyway, we got there on Wednesday. We got set up on the Hudson Avenue side. So the first night, that Wednesday night, because the thing happened on a Tuesday, I went back to the hotel and I was hungry, so I walked down about 4 or 5 blocks to Times Square. Now visualize Times Square as you would like on New Year's Eve, just packed full of people, right? And when I got there to McDonald's on Times Square, there wasn't a soul, a car, a bird, nothing. It was completely empty. And the whole time I sat there and ate for like 15 minutes, not one car, taxi cab, person walked in Times Square. It was totally empty. Like Godzilla was coming in. On the old Godzilla movies where everyone's vacated and they show paper blowing across the street. So, I just was sitting there looking out the window because I had this little bar there, and it was so eerie to see Times Square empty like that. It took a couple of weeks before things got back together. So that was my experience in New York. So anyhow, after I left the Sure Shot Uplink thing, I of course opened up a studio and I had these other odd jobs. In 2010, I was getting tired of the snow and I couldn't find decent work. And with the advent of computers and home studios starting to take over, unless I had McCartney or Steve Miller or Steven Tyler come in to record to get credibility, it was kind of phasing out. And then I wanted to get back into video production and film production. So, and you can't do that there in Ohio because it snows in the wintertime and production's pretty much shut down. So I decided to move back to take care of mom and dad and open up the production company and the studio over here. So I did. I didn't open up the studio. I just picked up more equipment for my film production stuff, and basically was taking care of mom and dad because they were getting up in their years. So that's what I did, and moved back in 2010, and been living and doing, working on cars and doing different projects. 65 years. I've done a lot, and I need to do some more. Right now, this is my studio. This is where I sometimes come in. I'm still putting some stuff together in here, but this is a Soundcraft board. It's a Ghost. I got all my effects over here, my headphone amp. I got all my compressors and limiters. All the recording stuff is back there. I got a lot of cool stuff, synthesizers. But 65 years opposed to 65 million. It just blows my mind when I think about how long ago that was. 65 million years from now, people won't even think of us, I guess. I don't know. But I'm having a good time. And I've been working on some independent films, doing audio. Just got done working on Autumn Run. It's going to be a good movie. A lot of good talent, local talent. I think if it wasn't for the language, it would have made the Hallmark Channel. Maybe we can bleep that out. Anyway, that's about it. I can't think of anything else. I just had a good life so far, and hope to have another 20 years before I leave the planet, whatever that might be. So, all I know is I got an automatic transmission coming up to rebuild for L60E. Next door neighbor wants me to rebuild it, so I'll do that. And little Sputnik here is trying to get some sleep. Yeah. Say hi to the camera, see? My kitty cat. Alright, well, I'll sign off now and bored you enough with my life history, sort of. There's a lot more, but I can't think of anything right now. But been to England, been to Germany, been to Canada a couple times, British Columbia, went to Victoria Island, traveled a lot. I was doing a Cornhuskers game in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I'm not into sports, so I don't know who's who or what's what. All I know is they throw the ball or bounce it or do something with it, and whoever wins wins. Anyway, we're doing this thing, and I got to meet gosh, what's his name? He was on Survivor. I'll think of it. Anyway, we had it was Thanksgiving. We did the Cornhuskers game Thursday on Thanksgiving. They had a dinner. ABC threw a dinner for us at the hotel, and they had an open bar and whatnot. And afterwards, they had karaoke, and they had this black guy doing the MCing, and so about the third song, I get up and I start singing Pretty Woman, and then he comes in and starts singing with me, and we're having a really good time, and really nice guy. So I go back down to sit down, and my co-engineer, Mike, he goes, "Oh, that's so cool, man! You got to sing with Lynn Swann." I go, "Who's Lynn Swann?" "You don't know who Lynn Swann is?" I said, "No." And of course, he got to sing with me because I was singing the song. But here I'm singing with Lynn Swann and didn't even know it, and that was pretty fun. I wish I got a copy of the video because they were videotaping all the singers. It would have been kind of fun. But yeah, there's a lot of A lot of people I met and got to meet, what's his name, the basketball player now? James, LeBron James in Akron. We had to do a video with him, and he wasn't too nice to me, so I wrote him off my list. And, just kind of had some good times in my life. So, all right, we'll talk to y'all later. I hope I live another 20 years. I come back and talk to you when I'm 85. All right. Ciao.